Hello, everybody. Welcome to something kind of an oddity around here. We'll explain that here in just a second. But this is a new episode of Film Seizure. My name is Geoff Arbuckle. To my left,
Chuck Moore.
And to my right,
Jason Oliver.
Exactly. So
I did it, guys. I did it.
You did. Yeah, you introduced yourself.
I'm back in the saddle.
Yeah, there you go. So this is something that for the past 14 months we have been doing episodes as what we were calling the quarantine sessions. We were steering clear of the COVID, and for the first time in 14 months, we are all together at one table.
Yeah.
Talking.
Yeah.
Over each other.
It's kind of weird because I got to look to my left to see you now. I look over here to see Chuck when you were right in front of my face.
Yeah, now
for 14 months.
I have to look at you both.
Yeah.
I could avoid that before.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So we do still have a couple of episodes that fall into the quarantine sessions that will be coming out later this month, but we are kind of back in the saddle.
Yeah.
As Aerosmith would say.
Is that Aerosmith?
Yep, back in the saddle again. Anyway, so this week we are kind of continuing our recommendations that we've received from listeners. Last week we covered The Beast, or The Beast of War. Mm-hmm. This week is the first of two entries from my dad. He is my dad. Yeah, he's my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So long-time listener from the very beginning, doesn't give two fucks about any of the movies we talk about. But, has liked some, and liked some of our episodes.
Yeah. Does he watch the movies before, or does sometimes he just listen?
He just listens. He doesn't watch these movies that we talk about most of the time. Yeah. So he was like, hey, Geoff. And I was like, yes, Father. He's like, you guys talked about that Big Hand for the Little Lady. It's like, the fuck are you not talking about Cincinnati Kid for? And I'm like, well, because that means something to you, and that was a movie that meant something to Jason.
Right.
Correct.
And then he's like, well, I don't care. I want to hear you talk about Cincinnati Kid. So here we are. We are talking about the 1965 poker drama.
Yeah, so this is our third gambling movie, I think, right? Because we've done The Sting.
Yes.
This is our second Anne Margaret movie, I believe, because we did The Villain.
Yes.
It's our first Steve McQueen.
Yes, although I have talked about The Blob on Monster Mondays.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
So, so Steve McQueen is the Cincinnati Kid. And he is actually, what is his name? Eric Stoner. Stoner, right?
I think that's right.
Stoner.
Yes. So, Eric is...
He's just the kid, man. He's the kid.
Yeah, well, he is.
But yes, Eric Stoner.
Okay. So he is a gambler. I mean, just flat out. Everything he does, he gambles with low lives, with cards. He gambles with
Shoeshine Boys.
Shoeshine Boys, absolutely. He gambles with high rollers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As we find out, he has gotten a name for himself for being pretty good at the game of poker.
Yes.
5-card stud, to be exact.
Yes.
He kind of reminds me of the poker version of Paul Newman in The Hustler. Is that kind of a fair comparison?
Yeah. I would say that he is. Yeah. I mean, I would put it like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
And Jackie Gleason is kind of the Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah, and kind of like the like if we were to if we were to kind of put that way, yeah, like Edward G. Robinson plays the Man. That's his nickname. So you have the Kid and the Man, which is kind of that's nicely.
There's good symmetry there.
Yeah.
Right.
And he is basically going to be somebody who the kid needs to beat to basically become the man at 5-card stud.
If he wants to be the best, known as the best, he's got to beat the best, and the best is the man.
Lancey, whatever.
Howard.
Yeah,
Lancey Howard.
Yeah.
So now, had either of you guys seen this movie before?
I not.
No.
No. Okay. I had seen it probably 10 or 12 years ago, probably was maybe the first time I saw it. I think it was one of those things where Dad was like, hey, have you seen the Cincinnati Kid? And I'm like, no. And I probably even thought, and maybe even thought since then, it's like, wait, is that Paul Newman or Steve McQueen or Robert Redford?
Right.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, there's very little about this that I remember except for one really important key thing, which we'll talk about. But so he brought it over one day. I think he probably got it at the library or found that the library had it and he got it, whatever. So, so we watched it. It's a really pretty good movie.
It is. Yeah.
I think it is. I think that there is a nice kind of. How do I want to put this? Like a nice way that this is kind of set in a relatively desperate time or soon to be desperate time with 1930. You have a lot of relatively desperate people, some holding it together better than others, some just quite frankly better than others, like in terms of like your social standing, right? Because you have really two primary power players that if they lose a lot of money in a bet, they're not destitute.
Right.
You have Rip Torn's character, who's just kind of he kind of seems like he runs New Orleans a little bit.
His family is one of the richest families in the city.
They said that, yes.
Yeah.
So so you have him, and he plays a game when Clancy comes into town. Which, by the way, Edward G. Robinson is the basis for Chief Wiggum. And Chief Wiggum's first name is Clancy.
Really?
That's funny.
I like that.
So anyway, so he came into town. He seems to talk a little bit about Miami, like maybe that's where he operates out of.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
he does. And Steve McQueen's been talking about going down there because New Orleans has kind of played out for him.
Exactly.
He's got a marker on everybody.
He's got a
So
marker.
there's no one for him to gamble with
exactly.
in that city anymore.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the only people he can gamble with are the amateurs, and they're generally hotheads. And as his buddy Shooter tells him, he's going to get him killed one day, and it almost does.
Right.
After a poker game that he took a guy who didn't take so kindly to getting fleeced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right. So meanwhile, while we see kind of Cincinnati kind of playing the bush leagues, the kid, we see the man basically playing with the higher roller, the big time rich guys, like the Rip Torn character. And Rip Torn comes in thinking, he's hot shit, and he basically gets emasculated right there in front of everybody by a guy who just beats him.
Yeah.
Just flat out beats him, and also seems to know exactly what he needs to do to win almost any hand of poker, whatever the situation is. If he's got the cards, he's got the cards.
Right.
If he realizes somebody's kind of tilted, like we find out later with a guy named Pig, which is somebody that Jason really, really didn't like.
Well, he was introduced in a scene where they showed actual cockfighting, which I didn't really enjoy. And he's got fucking mustard all over his mouth from eating a hot dog. It's just like, dude, wipe your mouth. And he's sweaty, and he's betting on chicken fights, and it's just like, ooh, gross guy. He's gross. I don't like him. He was appropriately named Pig.
Yes.
Just keep your eyes on Anne Margaret.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
For sure.
Or Tuesday Weld.
Or Tuesday Weld, yeah.
You have your choice, blonde and a brunette. In this one.
Blonde and redhead.
Blonde and redhead, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess
if
it is
If
a
you
redhead.
like brunettes, you're a little out of luck. Sorry.
Yeah, this ain't the movie for
Yeah.
you.
Maybe McQueen used to be a brunette.
Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I was kind of thinking of, all things considered, with this movie, the big poker showdown of the third act and everything, it's like this is the close. Like Daniel Craig is the closest you will ever see Steve McQueen being James Bond in life.
Okay.
Because they do resemble one another very closely.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's kind of playing backroom dive bar games. You've got Rip Torn. You've got Edward G. Robinson playing the high roller games at the 5-star hotel, or something very similar to that. And you're just kind of seeing these two characters kind of one bets and plays poker to survive. One does it simply out of a hobby,
Right.
basically.
Well, he's been doing it for years.
He's been doing it for years. He's richer than all get out. You win some, you lose some, but he's the best, and he likes to play, and he likes to take on other people of stature.
He likes to prove that he's still the best.
Exactly. Exactly. As you would, and especially if you can just go from town to town and just drop hundreds of thousands of dollars possibly on games.
Right. They bet a lot of money for the 30s.
Shit.
$10 ante up, and woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are times in this game or in this movie where it's like, yeah, I'm going to bet, $3,000 like it's nothing.
Right.
And it's not even like a gotcha bet. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to open with 3,000 because I got good cards.
Right.
So
Yeah, long before his star-making turn in Freddy Got Fingered, Mr. Rip Torn.
or possibly, well, yeah, I was going to say Men in Black, but okay, fine.
Daddy, would you like some sausage?
I decided against doing
I
that.
had to do it. Daddy, would you like some sausages?
And everybody, Tom Green's on this episode too. So we kind of see, this is kind of one of those things where it's like, where Steve McQueen, where the kid is coming from, he is, this is kind of his job. He doesn't really have a 9-to-5.
Right.
He just goes from game to game. He collects markers on people that owe him money. He happens upon one game just in time for somebody to win, to collect on some markers of a few grand. So he's not, he's good at what he does, but he's kind of nickel and diming his way through this profession. Whereas the man is, just tonight, it's a day that ends in a Y. I'm going to play some poker.
Well, the man has reached a level of stature and fame,
Right.
worldwide, right? So people want to play with him to say they played with him.
Right.
The kid isn't really a name yet. He's taken everybody in New Orleans, but he's got to make the next move.
Right.
And perhaps he thinks he can be the man. And if you beat the man, he would then be the man.
He would be the guy people would be ponying up,
Right.
and yeah.
But maybe it's a little too soon. We'll see.
Well, he has his friend Shooter, right?
Right.
Shooter thought he was the man, or was going to beat the man.
This is why it reminds me of The Hustler, by the way.
Right.
It's very much The Hustler.
Shooter was the Cincinnati Kid, however many years earlier, right?
Right.
Basically that. And he played Lancey Brown. It's Lancey, right? I think
Yes.
it's
Lancey, yeah.
Nancy Howard, but yeah.
Yeah, Lancey Howard.
Howard, yeah.
He played him and got whooped.
Yeah.
So he's kind of advising the kid, like, you're good, but you might not be ready for this guy.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
Right. And, the thing is that there is this cool mystique around the man that, for all we know, one, he's not really a villain.
No.
He's just number one.
Right.
And if you're not number one, you want to beat number one.
It was kind of weird to deal with at the beginning of this movie because I'm so used to the best, whoever, to being an asshole.
Right.
Or like I wouldn't actively root against the man in this. He wasn't that kind of character.
No.
So it's an interesting.
And in some ways, he was very complimentary to the kid, too, where it's like, hey, why don't you come with me down to Miami? And,
He tells him you're the best player I've seen in 35 years.
Which is basically best since I started.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, there's a sequel where Tom Cruise wants to be the man.
Oh, okay. Is it the Louisville Kid?
It's called The Color of Poker.
I thought you were talking about Cocktail.
No, that's the cockfighting scene.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
With Anne Margaret. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, right, and like he's not the villain of this movie. Rip Torn is everything about him, from the way that he is to the way he's shot to the way he talks. He is everything you are supposed to dislike.
Yep.
Yeah.
He is full of himself. He doesn't lose well when he loses to Edward G. Robinson. He more or less uses his money where he couldn't push people around with his money at the poker table. He pushes them around behind the scenes for the next game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Meaning he's going to first lean on Shooter to basically give the kid the cards to beat, thinking that the man is some sort of mythical creature that can't be just beaten.
Right.
And
well, in his mind, he's probably thinking, well, if I can't beat him,
then who else would? Yeah.
Because he's that sort of egomaniac.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he is, so basically he leans on Shooter because he knows he's got a kid that he thinks he can kind of build up, or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, if you think this guy is good enough to beat the man, where I'm going to, you're going to deal this game, and I'm going to make sure that you're dealing a winning game to basically, in his opinion, embarrass the man.
Right.
But really, that's not at all what the kid wants. The kid just wants to beat him. I mean, there's nothing beyond that.
And he wants to beat him fair and square.
He wants to beat him his way.
He wants to know that he's the best.
Exactly. Now, what's kind of funny about all of this is let's start with, because there's several things circulating around this whole concept. This whole, we're going to cheat this game.
Right.
First, there's nothing profoundly great about the man other than he knows when to bet his cards.
Right.
And when not to. Now, he also, like I said, he does kind of know that he can kind of, he can also set traps. But
he
again,
has a reputation. He can use his reputation to win games of poker as well.
Exactly. And he is also, he's able to, like, for example, at one point he basically, it is implied that he bluffs his way through one scenario.
Right.
But at the same time, he also knew when that person's breaking point was. He really isn't. He's not the guy with the book at the table later who's calculating all of the possible outcomes. He is just a guy who's like, I've got these cards. I don't know if that guy has the card he needs, but I can bet my cards and I'm going to worry about myself. And then when somebody is kind of a lame duck, he can take them out.
He's kind of a frustrating poker player because he doesn't always make the professional, this is the way you would bet this hand kind of call, right?
Right.
He's very instinctual. He has good instincts about things. He as he puts it later, he knows when to make the wrong move at the right time.
Right.
Yeah. which is kind of a rarity. I mean, it's why he's the man. He has really good instincts, and you get the sense that he's willing to make a few mistakes like that also to learn how other players play, and also some of those mistakes turn into fortune.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
In parallel with this, though, it's important to note the shoeshine boy that we just kind of mentioned. He's the kid to the man in another scenario. This boy plays, what is the game called?
It basically
cutting quarters.
Yeah, that's what I would call it. I mean,
used to play this in high school.
Yeah, you throw a quarter against the wall.
Yep.
Or towards a wall.
And whoever's closest.
Whoever lands the quarter closest
it has to hit the wall, and then on the bounce, whatever quarter is closest gets all the other quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
he keeps beating the kid, and he keeps telling the kid, "You're not ready.
You're not ready for
Weren't
me."
they playing this in Postman Always Rings Twice also with the sailors and
probably.
and Jack? I think they were playing this.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that probably was that game.
Yeah. That was in the dark times when we were all watching movies separately and not necessarily always seeing the same thing.
It is a different kind of thing when you're watching the movies on your own.
Exactly.
But that's to see where Brian James, right, from Blade Runner, is in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You remember that movie a lot better
crazy
than I do.
recall. I don't know why I remember
Yeah, I don't know why
that.
you remember that, because I remember the original version of that movie so much more clearly. And if you remember that episode, listeners, we talk more about that movie than we do the one that we were supposed to talk about.
Probably.
So now we've got... so there's another important thing that also comes up, which is Tuesday Weld is Steve McQueen's girlfriend in this. And she's kind of a country bumpkin who's kind of moved to the city.
Right.
And she is not only the girlfriend of Steve McQueen, but also friends with, as a couple, with Shooter and his wife, which is Anne Margaret. Melba. The sexiest name ever. It's the sexiest toast, I guess.
I mean, it is now, to be quite honest.
Right. So she talks about going to this movie, this French movie with Melba, and it kind of blows her mind a little bit. She's not entirely the smartest creature on the planet.
No, I don't
a
say
little
this in a bad way,
naive.
but she's like a simple folk.
She comes from simple folk, from a poor family. She's just a little naive. I don't think that she's necessarily,
Her
unintelligent.
dream was to be swept up and brought to a big city by. It's basically the princess and the knight kind of thing.
Right. But at the same time, she's a little too slow for the kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Not in the intelligence factor, but it just she lives a slower life.
Her lifestyle. Yeah.
Right. And so she's basically saying it's like, so they put the words down at the bottom of the screen, like it's like the most amazing thing she's ever seen before, so that you can understand what people are saying. And he's like, yeah, whatever, and it's like it means nothing to him basically. But then he starts to kind of get invested, because then she's telling the story about how like the Spanish general is delivering a letter to his troops. He's like, well, was the letter in Spanish, French, or English? What was it? And she's like, it's like
I'm not telling the story anymore.
Yeah, she basically wants to give up telling the story, but she ends up, he kind of basically either convinces her to continue to tell the story, or she's just going to finish the story. And she basically talks about how in this movie that she went and saw, the French women of this town have sex with the Spanish soldiers to basically make it so that they won't wipe out this town or something. And basically she comes to the conclusion where it's like, well, it's almost like they valued their lives over their dignity, basically.
Yeah, she says honor, but
honor,
dignity is certainly the same here.
And he's like, and she's like, well, I just don't understand it. And he's like, well, that's the dumbest thing. It's like, of course, because what good's your honor if you're dead?
Right.
And so right there, you kind of see what type of person the kid is. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but he is willing to sidestep certain things just to stay alive for the next day. Meaning, well, he doesn't really care that he's hanging out in the slums, gambling for a living. He's alive today because he won a little bit, and he can go again tomorrow.
But it's interesting because he goes against that principle ultimately.
Well, somebody else does too, big time.
Well, somebody does what he says he would do, but he actually ends up doing the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. You want to take it from? You want to explain that?
Sure. So, Carl Malden, who plays Shooter, he essentially has been strong-armed by Slade, Rip Torn, to essentially deal the kid a few good hands here.
Occasionally help him out.
Yeah, occasionally
Yeah.
help him out so that he beats the man. Because
all he cares about is the man going down.
the Slade wants to see the man embarrassed. Yep. So, Carl Malden doesn't want to do this. There's a scene earlier with Anne Margaret where he chastises her for always cheating at everything.
Right, because she cuts up puzzle pieces to make them fit when they don't fit.
he says, you even cheat at solitaire. You're only cheating yourself.
Right.
So, but he kind of gets strong-armed. The Slade has got some markers on him. He's also got some information about Melba that's never fully divulged.
I have a feeling she's a prostitute.
Yeah, that was my...
Or at least
my
she
gut.
worked at a brothel.
Yeah, that was my gut too. Kind of a creepy scene because he's telling his kids a bedtime story about Melba, and then it cuts away. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
weird.
It is weird. But
it made Shooter real uncomfortable.
It made Shooter really uncomfortable, but when they cut away, where they cut to? Melba trying to seduce the kid.
Yeah. So you don't... Malden really doesn't want to do it, and he protests profusely.
Because he thinks the kid can beat him.
And
if the situation's right, the kid's going to win.
But he wouldn't bet on it.
He wouldn't bet on it.
Yep.
But, of course... in a way, Rip Torn is trying to win back what he lost by betting against the man.
So what's interesting is they don't actually come out right out and say, Shooter, the character doesn't come right out and say, yeah, man, I'll do it. You just kind of have to find out for yourself through the course of the poker game, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, you wouldn't have as much conflict if you weren't.
Right.
Right. So, but yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? Is now, the kid is in a situation where in this game, he's being helped and he starts to kind of realize, oh shit, this isn't on the up and up. He's feeding me cards and he doesn't like it. He actually folds a hand that was a winner that he knew
folds
was a winner.
like 3 hands in a row that were winners.
And he watches the reaction of Shooter and he can tell yeah, I was right about that.
So it's interesting. Like
he almost destroys a set over it.
Yeah.
That would have beaten Citizen Kane for messing up a room.
Uh-huh. Very, very true. Yeah, he throws Shooter against the door frame and the whole fucking wall almost comes down. I said there were some sweaty carpenters, man. They were like, Open got it in one.
That was actually Carl Malden too, and he got
he threw him good. Yeah,
threw him hard.
Which Carl Malden does not appear to be a guy you would see it from his face that would be fit, but he's fit.
Yeah.
Well, he's taller than everybody in this movie.
Everybody in this movie, I mean, everybody is fit for the most part, other than Edward G. Robinson, but
and Pig,
yeah.
Yeah, you've already forgotten about Pig.
Yeah,
how can you forget?
I just want to forget Pig.
Fit.
Forget his.
It's a big pig.
I want to forget his stupid mustard mouth.
Yeah, stupid mustard mouth. We also have important to note because Cincinnati Kid notices the cheater. We have a backup dealer named Ladyfinger.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Joan Blondell.
Yeah.
She is busting balls from the moment she walks into a room until the end of the movie.
Yep.
Yeah, she's pretty great. She's trying to steal every scene, and she does a good job of it.
Yes. Oh, yeah, because there's even times where it looks like she's kind of affording the man a courtesy and then just busts his balls anyway.
Mm-hmm, right. But she is also a player, but she had suffered some great loss in a game, so she was down on her luck. So she went to not playing now. She's just a dealer. She's gonna make some money dealing.
She likes the atmosphere, but she's not playing anymore.
Right. She's gonna get money for dealing though. She's gonna get paid.
She's gonna. Oh yeah, for sure. The man is actually upset that she's not playing because he likes her. What did he call her? Divergent style or something like that.
Yeah.
It's something new to the table, and probably also that's probably a state, maybe a way to state, or maybe not really a statement. It's not the word I'm looking for, but it's like, it's something different to have the woman at a table full of.
He's also taking a friendly jab too,
right?
Because he knows he can beat her.
Right.
So he's disappointed she's not playing.
Right. I wanted to take your money is really what he's
totally.
It's interesting too, and maybe
But he's very much a gentleman about everything.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because
nice guy.
Yeah, he takes those jabs, but that's poker table talk.
Right.
It's like we would say those things between us before a game starts.
None of it is mean spirited.
For lack of a better term, he's treating her as one of the guys.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
And their relationship, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, and there was one point in this movie where I thought that they were rigging the game themselves. It's very like Maverick and his father.
Yeah.
Kind of the relationship they have. It almost seems like there's something more there that we're not seeing.
There almost could have been like a scene tacked on that showed them like splitting the money or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I could have
like
also
almost like the end of Big Hand for a Little Lady, right? They're all just like counting the money out.
Yeah. That's such fun movie.
Don't talk about that movie, goddammit. We're talking about Dad's movie. No, I wonder if possibly they also had a thing in the past.
I get that impression too. But I also think that the man kind of had a thing for the kid.
Yeah, you guys brought that up. I mean,
I think there was a little kind of subtext in there. I felt like he was kind of hitting on him a little bit,
like more than admiration, because there was definitely admiration there.
Yeah,
from the man to the kid, and it's weird. And maybe this is why ultimately things went down the way they went down. The man respected the kid more than the kid respected the man.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Because the mistake. Well, the kid makes a mistake, a vital mistake at the end, which is. To kind of tip our hand a little bit to what happens in this movie, but he makes a mistake.
Yeah.
Because he cannot see past his own I got him. So therefore, yeah, you're right. He's kind of disrespecting the man.
Well,
the way the way the man plays.
Right.
Yeah. Well, exactly, because the man, again, he wins that hand because he didn't play the way you're supposed to play.
Right. Yes.
And it got him again.
And Joan Blondell even calls him out on it.
Yep, she does.
Yeah.
She was like, why would you raise there? Right, yeah, exactly. It's like, it's the wrong move at the right time. And that's why the man is the man.
Yep. So, okay, so yes, kind of backing up a little bit, to Rip Torn basically saying, okay, well, here's the deal. You're going to get a nice payday. And I'm going to call off this $12,000 marker. That's a big fucking marker in 1930.
Holy shit.
And so basically, it's going to be a $37,000 payday.
I like the way he makes Shooter say it so he realizes the number instead of saying it himself.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, what is it? And he's looking at it.
And he's like, what is 25 plus 12?
Yeah.
Oh,
Shooter's
man.
Like
and he's got, in his parlor, he's got this...
Shooting range?
The shooting range. He's got a door that opens up to this long hallway, this stone hallway that looks like it's in the catacombs.
Yeah.
And he's got a target at the end.
But it's in a sitting room.
Yeah, but it's right in the sitting room. It's fucking bizarre.
Playing card on like a metronome.
It's like ball.
Yes.
On a metronome, and he hits the jack's eye.
Yeah.
Like perfect shot.
Yep.
It's like a Bond villain shit.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a scary guy.
Geoff can only say yes. For the rest of this movie now.
Yes. It's just suddenly the realization, like, oh my God, yeah. So he, and then that's when he tells his kids the story about Melba.
Right.
Smash cut to Melba and the kid coming back from a cockfight that Melba was supposed to go to with
Shooter.
Yeah. But Shooter got called to this meeting with Rip Torn.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know, kid, can you take her? And I'm like, yes.
He thought Kid was going with
Tuesday.
What's her name in this?
I can't remember her name.
Christian,
yeah.
But Christian has left. She has gone to go visit her parents, and she kind of wants a break
It doesn't seem like she's coming back.
Right.
She's been getting ideas from Melba. It's not totally overt, like you don't really see it,
Right.
but you know that Melba is kind of pushing
She's
Christian
manipulating
away.
lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pulling
Well,
some strings.
Yeah.
And some of it also comes down to, it's like Christian wants something from the kid that the kid can't ultimately give her.
Yeah, she's not sure how the kid really feels about her the way she wants him to.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it ends up being a date, not a.
Well, at least from one perspective, it's a date. Because she comes in her finest of red dresses. Yeah, that too.
Sploosh.
So much so that the whole town ends up underwater.
Yeah. Talk about a literal scene. And I didn't like the cockfight either, but it's a total, like, cockfights, men going at each other make her very hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
she really
she
likes
really
the idea
took
of the powerful man.
Right.
Something just occurred to me about that cockfight scene.
Because at
Pig
this
was
point,
there with mustard on his mouth.
Yeah. No, fuck.
well,
No,
one quick
this
thing.
movie was supposed to be directed by Peck and Paw.
Right.
So that feels like a very Peck and Paw thing you'd put in a
were
movie.
they
Yeah.
pecking at each other?
Where they're pecking at each other, Peck and Paw. I think of the
See?
scorpion fighting in Wild Bunch.
No, okay.
So the yeah, because also what's happening during the cockfight? Well, one guy is losing his standing. He's being basically, he's basically being brought to heel over another powerful man's
Cock.
desire to fell another powerful man. So
Right.
so at this point, Shooter is nothing. And I don't, it's almost what's the word I'm looking for? Parallel, I guess, where you see the kids being lifted up while Shooter's being brought down, and Shooter's wife likes the powerful cock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shooter's very much cuckolded in this movie. He becomes quite a schlub.
Yeah.
Yes, and it kind of culminates in when he almost brings down the house.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
With his body
But it's
as he's being
fascinating.
thrown
I don't
by
know.
the powerful cock.
But it's fascinating, though, that the kid, while he fails, stays true to this principle that maybe he didn't know was in him. Right?
Right.
So, I mean, he comes away with his honor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
maybe it is
there was
right?
honor in losing that
Yeah.
game. There would have been no honor in winning it if he'd have won it by.
Spoiler alert. He
Yeah,
lost.
he
Right.
lost. Yeah,
Which was kind of surprising. I wasn't really expecting it to go that way.
I wasn't either.
it's a hell of a sting
Yeah.
too.
But it's also it's right there. I mean, it's the kid and the man,
yeah,
Like,
right. You don't beat your dad.
The kid doesn't beat the
It's,
man.
it's
Yeah.
like you and your father or whatever.
The
You
man
don't-
dies.
Your dad
Hey,
always.
wait a minute, Dad.
That's why he
Dad
picked
suggested
this
this.
movie.
Oh no! Oh no!
Your dad is a smart man.
I'm just the kid.
But yeah, so
Well, I've got Aunt Margaret.
Well, your dad is a damn good poker player, and
Yes, he is.
and he annoys the hell out of me. So he's perfect. That's perfect foil.
one of my favorite scenes.
I don't mean you annoy the hell out of me in real life, Dennis. Just in poker. He's cracking up right now.
No, he's proud of himself.
He's,
Yeah.
he's shooting into his. He's shooting holes in his jacks. Thinking about you.
Oh God, so great.
So there's a great scene here before the game even really.
He does
takes
those
place.
digs too, because like Susan hates playing poker with Dennis too. Sorry, I just got to tell the story.
It's going to be the Dennis.
I got to tell
Well,
the
he
story.
did suggest this.
And and it just delights Dennis so much. And one year for Christmas, or I forget what it was, for a birthday, maybe it was a wedding present, he gave Susan a how to play poker book. It's the fucking best.
Did she ever read it?
No, but that was like, here's something to help you learn, or something like that. It's been my Bible. I mean, he was really nice about it, but it was also like a
Of course.
like a total Dennis dig. It was great.
I love it. That's fantastic. Fantastic. So
no, she ended up. Didn't she end up saying that she kept that book?
She does. She still has it. Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. She'll never get rid of it. I don't know if she's read it, but if she ever plays
Judging by the
Dennis in
last time
poker
I
again,
played
she
poker.
better read it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh,
So
man.
anyway, Tuesday, or Christian has gone home to see her family.
Yes.
Before the game occurs, Cincinnati Kid, or the kid, he's sick of waiting. He doesn't want to wait for the game to happen. So he decides to kill time by going to visit her.
Oh, God, yes.
And it's not really, I don't even know that his desire at this point is her. He's not going.
He's blown off time so he doesn't sit in the pressure of
Right,
New
he's
Orleans.
not really committing to her.
Right.
That's not why he's going. He's not going to show his commitment. He's annoyed that he has so much time before the game happens.
because the game is going to be like Monday at 8 and it's probably like Friday.
Night.
So it's like, fine, I'm getting out of town.
Yeah. But there's a really great scene.
It's such a sweet scene.
where when he shows up, the mother, again, these are simple folks.
It's late.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
late in the day or late at night.
Late in the
whatever.
it's like early evening.
Yeah. And she's just like staring bullets at him. She's not happy.
She never it takes a while for her to warm up to him.
It's
Maybe
something-
never.
I don't even know if she warmed up to him as much as she enjoyed the trick, right?
Right.
So they have this weird, awkward dinner with the family. The dad is like trying to be the stoic. I'm not going to give this guy the time of day. His eyebrows are leaving the room before him. He's got some big eyes. They're like Lee Marvin worthy eyebrows.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even more worthy than Lee Marvin. I don't know. They're pretty big.
He's got chores to do.
Yeah, and he's just like, they're uncomfortable. It's awkward. But then she, being the sweet, young girl, whatever, she's like, well, show him a trick.
Yeah.
Like real innocent stuff. And he shows the dad a trick.
Well, he kind of looks at her and he looks at the dad. It's great. It's like
It's really awkward.
It's like, do I really want to? Like, I don't think
Because
he's that
also
interested.
what makes this really interesting is that her dad and Steve McQueen are roughly the same age.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve McQueen. Okay, everybody.
He's supposed to be playing young, but he's
He's supposed to be 17 in The Blob. He looks 35.
Yeah.
So he always looked 35 until he looked way older than 35.
Right.
But you get the feeling like, like he can't win here. If he does the trick, and he embarrasses the dad because he feels like he's being I don't know,
Outsmarted or whatever.
Bamboozled or something, like that's not going to be good. Or the dad's just going to be disinterested and be like, this is a waste of time. He's like, I don't see how I can win here, right? This is just going to be awkward and embarrassing. But he goes ahead and he placates Christian. And what happens?
Well, so he spreads out the card and he's like, pick a card, and dad like thinks about it for a second, and then he picks a card. And it's like, okay, look at it. Don't show me it. It's like, it's the 3 of hearts. And he's like, oh, hi! slams the card down.
He's slapping the table.
Yeah. And then the mom comes like, do you know what time it is? It's like trying to get a room ready for him. And he's like, show him the trick. Show him the trick.
You gotta see this.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm trying to, it's time for bed or whatever. It's like, show her the trick. And so he lays out the thing again. It's like, all right, pick a card. And she like kind of like
tentatively pulls one. He's like, no, don't show it to me. Don't show it to me. It's like 3 of spades, and she's like, and she like drops the card. She drops the card like it's almost like he's performed witchcraft.
Magic.
Right.
Exactly. It's a magic trick. But then
it's so great, and they're just laughing it up. Yeah, that is it's like the greatest thing he's ever seen. In fact, I think he does even say that, something along those lines. Like, the darndest thing I've ever seen.
Right. So he returns back to the city because it's like, it's time for the game. And it's like everybody's kind of suiting up. He purposely shows up late. I think he's trying to like pull some big dick energy, but it's like, just show up on time. It's like, because
it's another lack of respect for the man.
Right. Or at the very least, lack of respect for the game that he needs to learn to become the man.
Yep.
Right.
Yes, because everybody's friendly about it, but like before he shows up, it's like,
where is he?
Where you said 8, right?
Yeah.
See, and that's the best you're gonna get. That's the best Edward G. Robinson ever.
From you or from anybody?
From Geoff.
Okay,
most certainly.
It's better than your rendition of the Monday Night Football.
Well, I also tried to do a Scotty impersonation earlier during the scene where they almost took the set down, and that didn't go well.
See, I didn't even remember that.
I was trying to play like Scotty as the set designer, you know. It was pretty shitty.
I don't even remember it. Do you?
He's like, I'm throwing them all I've got, Captain.
Yeah, exactly. I like a hold or something like that. Yeah.
The hole's not gonna hold.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Let's not talk about that again. That or the mustard guy.
Oh, Pig's there. Pig is there.
Unfortunately, in the game.
He
is in the game. Sweaty. Yeah.
Sweaty and clutching his bills.
He gets what's coming to him, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
So everybody shows up, and at first, the you can see where the really good plays are, where they're not jumping at chances to bet. They're, I think, in the very first hand, I think the man folds. I think. So obviously he's not trying to push anybody, or he's just playing the game.
Right.
And then there's a point in which the kid gets a big win on the man.
Yeah.
And he struggles to come back a little bit.
Well, yeah, he says he's down $5,000, or not down. He can't call $5,000 because he doesn't have it. And
Rip Torn comes in.
Rip Torn says, no, you're not.
Yeah, he pulls out his, Yeah. And so it stakes him. He wins.
Man folds, actually.
He folds. But there was, at that point, it was so, because Rip Torn gives him $5,000 plus some to raise or something.
Right.
And he's like, well, I'll just, whatever. And so he gets that, and it hurts the man. It bloodies his nose a little bit.
Yeah.
And but he starts picking off the other players, which is a problem because that's going to end up putting him.
He's building his bankroll. He's got
the
most
back
money at the table.
Right.
Yeah.
And all at once he knocks out Pig, because Pig overbets a hand, but realizing that he is shaky on confidence, the man bluffs him, or seemingly bluffs him. And it gets him to the point where it's like, I can't lose anymore. I'm leaving.
Right. Yeah, he takes the 1,100 he has left and leaves.
He acts like a 3-year-old when he leaves.
Right.
He's very
petulant.
Yeah. And then
very much what I expect from Pig.
He hates Pig. He hates him so much.
I love it.
But then also at the same time, Cab Calloway's like, yeah, I'm going to take my losses. I'm going to eat my losses and leave too.
Yeah.
So it also knocks out the guy at the table who's constantly calculating.
Doc SoCal.
Yeah.
Doc SoCal.
Which weirdly it's not actually Southern California. It's SoCal.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, everybody's named after a place.
Yeah.
That's how this is.
Or a bread.
Or a bread. Or a religion.
Yeah.
or
SoCal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's writing in his book. He's trying to calculate all the odds.
Something that's illegal now. You wouldn't be able to do that in the game.
That's like basically
counting cards.
Counting cards. Yeah.
Right. But he's not really good at the game.
You can count cards if you can do it in your head.
No, he's playing purely percentages.
Right.
Yeah.
Purely percentages.
And he even said,
and it bleeds him.
Yeah.
That's why you lose to someone who bluffs you.
Who has instincts.
Yes, because you're reading the percentages and you're like, I have to play here, or I shouldn't play here.
Right. You're no longer looking at your cards. You're looking at the chances what the other guy's got. You're playing everybody else's cards.
And that's when a guy like that plays poker, a guy like that doesn't bluff.
That's like playing poker with the guy, Geoff, and this is going to piss you off, who uses next-gen stats.
Oh, God, I hate next-gen stats. I fucking hate that. That's my least favorite thing in the football season. It's like, what the fuck does it matter if the guy can run 40 yards after he catches a ball? I mean, who cares if that happens on the third Sunday of each month?
Well, it's only 17% he caught it, but he fucking caught it.
He rigs the fuck out.
Sorry.
That was an exact message.
Yeah.
He fucking caught it. Now what? Now what, bitches? Anyways, I hate that fucking shit. Anyway, I'm all for small ball and baseball. I'm all against next-gen stats in football. Anyway, so there's a place for nerdery in sports.
Right.
fuck, now you just derailed me.
He pulled the shift on
Doc
you.
SoCal lost.
Yes.
And we're basically down.
Basically, it's heads up. And this goes for days.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
And it's just basically them just cockfight. Yeah, it's like the kid wins a few, the man wins a few, and they're pretty evenly matched.
Yep.
And then they decide to take a break because at this point, this is when we find out, hey, you're throwing me winning. You've been dealing me winners for an hour.
Right.
Something's not right, and I can't explain. It's not going to make me look too good because at this point, this is where instead of just taking the win, he goes against the very thing he said to Christian about the movie and decides, no, I'm going to win this my way. It's going to be an honorable victory.
Right. At that point, it's not necessarily about the honor.
It's hubris almost.
It's a little bit hubris. I think where he makes the honorable choice is when he is literally strong-armed by Slade. Right? And they make some not so veiled threats about his safety and the tough,
Sure.
standing by the door frame, right?
Right.
Like he knows if he doesn't play ball, it could be bad for his health.
Right.
But he still is like, I'm not going to do it. And in fact, he makes sure that Shooter isn't the dealer. He says he's not been feeling well. Let's get Ladyfinger.
Oh yeah, that's great because Edward G. Robinson's like, oh, you're not feeling well, eh? and
Why didn't know that? See?
yeah, and Carl Malden's like just like shot. He's like, what? No, I'm feeling great. What
What are you talking about?
Yeah, wake Ladyfingers up. Get her in here. Anyway, so
the guy with binoculars watching from 4 feet away.
Yeah,
Right.
it's so funny.
he's constantly laying odds.
The spectators are really funny because they're there to bet on the game, right?
Right.
Like on who was going to win, and but they're like really into it, and they're sticking around for days.
Yes.
Like where the fuck are these people sleeping? You know?
Well, on the couches.
Like well, some of them, yeah.
So he at this point it's like he finds out, it's like, okay, dude, Shooter, this is ridiculous. It's like I'm gonna win this game. I've got him where I want him. I can win this game on my own, and I might tear down this whole set.
Right.
So I'm gonna go to bed,
and I'm handsome.
and I'm gonna go to bed, and then Aunt Margaret's gonna come in, and we're gonna tear down the set. You know what I mean? Yeah.
They're gonna change those sheets, that's for sure.
Oh God, they're gonna have to change everything. Change the curtains. Fucking wallpaper's coming off.
Won't have to wax the floors though.
No. Nope.
Jesus Christ.
So she sneaks in and gives
He's gonna
him.
be singing in the rain in there.
Yeah. So they're gonna go in. So she comes in and they go at it. And
He
she's
turned her down once.
Yes.
turned her down earlier.
Yeah.
Gave her a kiss and smacked her ass. That was pretty funny.
That did not necessarily.
It did not deter her. It,
No.
it only strengthened her resolve.
It's strengthened.
It's strengthened.
That's my Cincinnati accent.
Strengthened.
Strengthened. That's what they say in Cincinnati.
Yep, exactly. while they're rollerblading down that gigantic hill, playing poker while they're
Lord,
rollerblading.
give me strong.
Over the Rhine.
So, but a knock comes to the door, and you're like, "Uh-oh, what's happening here?"
Well, Cincinnati Kid ordered coffee.
Well, yeah, but then also, Ann Margaret's hair is a little mussed,
Yeah.
and the
She-
whole place is a little musty.
She's putting herself back together a little bit. Yeah.
Well, back in the 30s, I don't even care what her hair looked like. You wouldn't expect to find another woman in your boyfriend's room for any reason.
And she
I would
already
imagine.
knows Melba is a little shall we
Loose?
say seductive, trouble.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's Christian. Christian,
Right, Christian's at the door, and even when Melba's like, so he's taking a nap, and I was told to Shooter
pick him up.
told me to
Wake him up.
Shooter.
She was told to wake him up.
Yeah, Shooter told me to give him a handy job. I mean, wake him up. And when she leaves, she kind of flicks her hair a little bit at
Yeah,
Christian.
yeah.
Even it's like, oh my gosh.
And Margaret has attitude. And she has lots of attitude. In
when did she not have the attitude?
Like she even did like the little hip pop, and she's like, yeah, she's oozing attitude.
Oh yeah, and Margaret knew what she had.
Yeah.
Yep.
And everybody else around her knew too, because she wouldn't let them not
they
nude.
Nude, all right.
Nude.
Nude.
I didn't, but I should have.
They nude it.
They nude it. So now Christian's mad. Now this could be something that you could say could have maybe put the kid a little bit on tilt.
You're right.
You know, because he's dealing with the fact that his friend's cheating for him.
Right.
He slept with his friend's wife, and
Which
his
he
girlfriend
did because he really didn't feel like he had any
allegiance
anymore, right, to shoot her. You definitely you could see him make that decision, and why. Yeah,
it's like, well, your boyfriend or your husband sucks.
Because before he wouldn't do it because he was he was friends with Shooter, and he was trying honor his friendship. Right.
And the honor is
broken
out the window.
Right.
So he
but it immediately bites him in the ass after he was bitten in the ass.
Yes, because we get down that day this is when at some point they take another hour because Ladyfinger's like, I'm fed up with all this bullshit. I'm out of here. Yeah. That's not exactly what she says, but you kind of get the impression.
Like it tough.
I'm taking a break and you're going to deal with it.
You're going to fucking deal with it. Yeah. And so so they take another hour. That's when he gets pressured by Rip Torn.
Has a steak.
And then, that steak looked good. But then he said it was only okay.
It's just all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to mention, too, that there's that scene that I alluded to earlier where the man and the kid talk during a break, and the man is offering for him to come down to Miami with them, where I thought that maybe he was coming on to him a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's also like a little bit of mind games there too, because he's talking about women, and he's asking him if he has a woman, and it really kind of like trying to play on his sensibilities a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see that.
And I think that there's something about that can kind of you might think will get in his head when Christian walks in on him and Anne Margaret, right? Yeah,
well, because he says, well, there's really no place for women in our business because they, they complicate things is what, is what the man is basically getting to.
Yeah, and it's almost like maybe playing a little bit of a long game.
Yeah.
On him a little bit, right?
Well, Anne Margaret was playing a long game.
And he's trying anything he can to get kind of a. Yeah, she was to get kind of a mental edge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he may be also feeling out what the mental edges are.
Oh, exactly right.
I was wondering too, because at that break, he acts a little off kilter, like maybe his heart hurts or his back hurts or something.
That never really plays out.
I'm wondering if that was mind games.
Totally
too.
Was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trying to get him to think.
Trying to
weak.
show some weakness. Yeah. It's like, he's ready to be taken down. Yep. Playing wounded.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was kind of funny though, seeing Edward G. Robinson trying to get into a bed. Yeah. Because he kind of just like roly-polies onto that thing.
Yeah. I'm well on my way to Edward J. Robinson body form, man.
Oh, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm young Edward G. Robinson now.
He's got that barrel chest. Yep.
Well, I don't. I've got a barrel belly. Anyway, so we finally get to the big showdown, and here comes the cards. We have but we didn't really talk too much about how this is 5-card stud, which is 1 card down, 4 cards up.
Yeah.
And you're basically at that point left to bet on what the whole card is. So what we see is the kid has 2 aces and 2 10s up, and he's betting hard until the last betting option, which he checks, because the man has all diamonds, 8, 9, 10 queen,
something like that. Yep.
Showing.
Yep.
Yeah, 8, 9, 10 queen showing. And the question is, does he have a flush? Does he have a straight? Does he have a straight flush?
Right.
We pretty much can figure, probably, just based on if you know poker at all, you're probably guessing that without seeing it, that there's an ace or a 10 in the hole for the kid.
You assume the kid has a full house. You assume the man has at least a flush.
Right.
Maybe
and possibly a straight, but probably not a. I mean, the straight flush is not on either end. It's a very.
Cut shot.
It's a right.
Yeah, but he knows what he has.
He knows what he has. So everybody around him realized that the kid, at this point, because the kid says basically, "I'll bet whatever's in front of me," and and they think, "Oh, they got him, he's got him." The kid's got him. There's no way he has the jack of diamonds. And the man is like, all right, well, see. And he's like, all right, well, he pulls out his wallet, pulls out $5,000 bills, and it's like, all right, well, I'll raise you $5,000. To which you see the gears turn a little bit in the kid, because the kid's like, is he trying to do the thing that I watched him do to Pig earlier? Right. Is he basically trying to flush me out by my overconfidence in my hand? But he knows what he's got, and he's got a full house.
Full house beats a flush.
Full house beats a flush. Full house beats a straight.
Not a straight.
And no one
but
believes,
not straight.
no one believes that the man has the jack, because he didn't bet like he would have had the
He
jack.
bet little at one point.
Yeah.
Yep.
He bet real low when he basically had. Well, when we find out that he did have something.
Right. Well, he bet real little when he did have
four of the
connection
five.
to potentially make the straight flush.
Right.
Right.
So he says, well, hey, I'll take a marker, kid. It's like, oh no, don't worry, I can get the $5,000. There's no worries there. And everybody around him is like, oh, the kid's got him. It's like he's doing the thing that he did to Pig. He's got him. And he's like, all right, yeah, you got it. I'm in. And the man almost gleefully quickly turns over the jack of diamonds.
Yep.
Everybody shits their pants.
That is it's a funny shot. I don't know why, just the flashing to everyone's eyes in the room.
To the jack eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You almost expect there to be a dog in the room, and it shows the dog's eyes too.
So I don't know what just happened here. No.
A bear fell on me.
Well, and this kind
Roadhouse, guys.
Yes. But this kind of basically plays to the fact that almost everybody had something riding on this game. Obviously, Shooter is going to be in deep shit. Even though he didn't deal this.
Right.
But the fact that Shooter's not there to make it happen, he's in deep shit. Which means that for Melba, she has nobody now to cling to, because it's either a guy who's in deep shit or a perceived loser, regardless of how honorable the kid's loss is.
Right.
The kid doesnn get his stature that he wanted.
Loses all his money.
Loses everything that he had.
And technically, I guess, still has $5,000 to
the man.
No.
To Rip Torn.
He does, also to Rip Torn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he owes now, instead of being the cock of the walk. Yeah, in the cockfight, he is now basically the vanquished, and he's got markers on him.
And he loses a quarter
on everyone else.
Right.
He now owes.
And he loses a quarter to the Shine Kid.
But then also that makes things worse for him, because Rip Torn now has lost a big bet.
Oh yeah.
Betting on him.
Would they say the odds on the man were 8-5?
8-5, but then it went to 12-5.
Oh wow.
Or something like that. So, and then that was when the kid got frustrated, and the Shooter was trying to talk him down. It's like, don't worry about that. Who cares about the odds?
Right.
Just play the game.
Right.
Which means that the kid. It showed that the kid can be singularly focused on things that should not matter.
Right.
And so he basically stumbles out of the room. Also, he lost his girlfriend earlier.
Yeah.
So he's lost everything in the course of this 47-day game. And he stumbles out into the alley, basically like he's now in the gutter. Mm-hmm. And the little black kid from the shoe shine box comes up and it's like, hey, let's shoot some quarters. Hey. And it's like all close up, like crazy.
It's almost kind of like he's trying to give him a pep talk, right?
Right.
Like stand up. He keeps telling him to stand up.
Get yourself up. Yeah.
Yes, he does. So they play, and he loses that game too.
Yeah. He's like, you just weren't ready for me.
You just weren't ready for me.
Yep. Throws his own line back in his face. It's like, damn, kick him while he's down.
Yeah, you tried too hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is the exact thing that he basically was doing for the last several days in that game.
Yep.
Right.
He's trying to. He's not just playing the cards. He's not just playing what he had. He cared too much about beating the man.
But right around the corner is the simple life, the life that stature doesn't matter, that you will be accepted for who you are, not what you are.
Yep.
Or what you,
right.
Or
because,
what you might be.
Right. Yeah, because Christian is still around the corner, still kind of lamenting everything. It looks like she's about to hit the bus back to Bumpkinsville.
Maybe. I got the feeling that she was waiting.
I did too.
Yeah. However, probably the right thing would have been to tell him to beat cheeks.
Right.
It's like, get out of here.
But they embrace.
And the movie ends.
It's interesting that there are versions of this where the movie ends on the freeze frame of his face after losing the quarter toss.
Really?
Yeah.
The ending of this movie reminded me of Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Mm.
In a lot of ways, it's like all that you thought was important is lost, but what you gained is what's like important. Like the lesson you learned is what's important.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's all you got to say about that, huh?
Thanks, Forrest. And that's the episode, folks.
Yeah, this episode was like a box of chocolates. Chuck gave you some stuff.
You totally knew what you were going to get.
This is a good movie. One of the things that I think is easy to kind of miss, and I called this out early on, particularly in the scene with Rip Torn and Carl Malden, where he's basically scaring Malden into doing something for him. This movie is very well shot.
Yes, it is.
That
you made mention of the camera movements.
Yeah, Geoff did that. I was talking about the train track shot, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, it was you.
Which is interesting too, because that could be very representative of different ways things could go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But like in that scene, it's a large room. It's a large sitting room, which we don't know has an entire shooting range in it. But there's movement to the camera that pulls in on people when they are being faced with a decision. It spins around to make it feel almost dizzying what you're about to hear or get into. It's surprisingly it is not paid much attention, but the camera is moving quite a bit in this movie.
Yep.
I like what you just said about the train track scene. The Chuck, you pointed out how cool the scene was shot. It's it's a train pulling into the station. There's divergent tracks all across, and one train coming in, and Steve McQueen running across the tracks to beat the train as it's coming into the station. And not only do you have the divergent tracks to kind of represent the different ways that things could go, but you also have the kid who's cutting across the tracks, right? He's taking the dangerous shortcut.
Yeah,
right.
He's taking the shortcut.
And who's on the train?
And his lady's on the train, isn't it?
No.
Oh no, it's
the man.
The man who's on the train.
He's about to get railroaded.
Yep. The man is on the train.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's yeah.
Yep.
So no, this is Norman Jewison. Pull up some of his.
Well, he's most famous for in the Heat of the Night, Fiddler on the Roof, and Moonstruck. He was nominated for Best Director for all three of those movies. I don't believe he won. But those are his big ones.
He's done a lot.
He's done a lot.
Yeah. But he does a lot of I guess you could say
he did The Hurricane.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So very interesting character type stuff, where you have people with various.
Thomas Crown Affair, another one.
The original.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So you got like
the original in Rollerball was him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's not that good of a movie.
It's really not.
There's some interesting ideas there.
It's fun.
But it's not that great.
Yeah. It's better than the remake.
Probably.
It's pretty bad.
Probably, but the remake's got Chris Klein though, right?
Is it Chris Klein?
Nash out.
I know LL Cool J's in it. Is it Chris Klein? It might be. I don't know. We're not going to talk about it. We're talking about Norman Jewison and the movies he's made.
Okay.
You woke up just for Chris Klein.
He made the original
Rollerball.
Oh yeah, okay.
With Jimmy Caan, and Maude Adams, another James Bond connection there.
But yeah, Norman Jewison, very good filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean, like this would have been probably on his rise to being what he would become.
So he took the role because Peckinpah got fired by the producer because Peckinpah wanted to shoot in black and white. Peckinpah was probably being Peckinpah, which is probably pretty combative about everything. But he got replaced, and Jewison, I think he wanted to take it because he was kind of doing more comedic stuff, and this was a way he could transition into some more sort of dramatic stuff. Yeah.
All right. This movie was not overly well received when it came out.
No.
But I don't really know why. Like, my guess is that maybe there is kind of an unsavory element to this movie. Nobody in this movie except for Tuesday Weld is really that, like, Tuesday Weld and her family are simple folk, right?
They're innocent.
They're the innocent.
Yeah.
Edward G. Robinson, though you can't really root against him, is still a gambler. Steve McQueen cheats on Tuesday Weld. It's and a lot of the people in this movie are varying degrees of just sad people. Mm-hmm. They're on the brink of a really bad time.
Yeah.
In the country.
Right.
That most of the people who aren't the high rollers are going to be washed out completely. There's a sense of desperation, and it kind of weighs on the movie a little bit.
Yeah, it does, and I think the ending doesn't help, right?
No. People don't like movies that don't have happy endings. Not this early.
In the mid '60s, this is like right on the sort of the brink of the new Hollywood, right?
Is this not a happy ending though? That's the funny thing about it, is because what you think happiness is him winning.
It's it's a complex ending. It's not. Right. It's not a Hollywood ending.
Right.
Yeah, right. It's like it does pair well with Rocky though, right? Rocky loses, but what did he win from it? He won the respect of taking the champ all the way to the.
He earned his own respect.
Yeah.
It gave him a sense of achievement.
Well, yeah, I'm not just some.
He earned
dope.
He earned the respect of the champ. He found the love of his life.
He got Mickey's respect.
He got Mickey's respect. He was a winner.
That's the most important. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, no, he and we.
Got me, Mick.
I mean, the reason why I think some people still.
Why did he talk like? Never mind.
I don't know.
He's not very good at.
I don't.
He was talking like he was Burgess Meredith.
Yeah, you're right.
Crap lightning.
I delivered the line to Burgess Meredith as Burgess Meredith.
Yes, you did.
I wish you'd have delivered it as Edward G. Robinson. But anyway,
or James Doohan
or Jimmy Doohan, yeah. I mean, but still, it's like even in the mid '60s, like we have a chance to really kind of think about it. It's like, well, he did win something at the end, right?
Right.
He lost everything, but by losing everything, maybe he gained a little respect. He gained a little respect for the game. maybe
and he gained a lot of perspective.
And he gained perspective that he wouldn't have had by just playing the guys who are going to shiv him.
Well, and if he beat the man, his life potentially would be worse.
Potentially, because now he's going to be carrying the target.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So, yeah, but the... right, but I feel like, though, that there's enough unsavory stuff on the surface that probably would have not been terribly well received, even though I think it was received well by the public. I mean, it made like $8 million, which is that is not an unreasonable amount of money to make in 1965 for a box office gross.
To me, it feels like it was almost shot like a horror in a lot of scenes.
You did mention that, yeah.
The way they built suspense with music, even the shots on the eyes was almost like a not noir, but like a murder mystery kind of.
Yeah, because there are ways that Rip Torn is shot where it's like, oh my God, I don't want to run into this guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to run into this guy right now.
Yeah.
Is he dead? That's probably especially why I don't want to run into...
I think Rip Torn died maybe last year or recently.
Well, I don't want to run into a dead guy.
I want to talk about something real quick. This is really neat. One of the DVD releases had a commentary for selected scenes from Phil Gordon and Dave Foley of
Kids in the Hall, Dave Foley?
Yes. But the Celebrity Poker Showdown host.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, Dave Foley. And then there was also a... wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. No, okay, here we go. Anthony Holden, in his book, Big Deal, A Year as a Professional Poker Player. This is about the odds of this final hand. I find this fascinating. The odds against any full house losing to any straight flush in a two-handed game are about 45 million to 1. And he continued that the odds against the particular final hand in the movie are astronomical, as both hands include tens. Holden states that the chances of both such hands appearing in one deal are more than 332 billion to 1.
Wow.
And goes on, if these two played 50 hands of stud poker an hour, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, the situation would arise about once every 443 years.
Wow. That's how long this game was?
Yes. Yeah. It all makes sense now.
Yep. Well, they did take a few hours off to sleep.
We saw Rip Torn turn into the dad from Freddy Got Fingered before our eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was watching while we were.
So you're saying there's a chance?
You're saying there's a chance. While we were watching the movie, I was kind of thinking, I wonder what poker players, like professional poker players, think of this movie.
Right.
Yeah. I guess they clearly state no string bets, and there were countless.
There were string bets.
Yeah.
I almost commented on that.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, and I wonder if
it's
that's
a little nitpicky, but it's just kind of interesting.
Well, it might be also two things. One, it might be a dramatic thing. Two, it might be, you say no string bets, but when the money starts flowing, you shut up.
Right.
It's like, so it's.
They could have easily modified the rules at some point in time as well.
Sure. No, good movie. Good gambling movie.
I like these movies that kind of take place around one big game, right?
Yeah.
I just enjoy gambling movies in general. Chuck and I just recently watched California Split.
Awesome.
Altman's movie, great gambling movie as well.
Sounds like
with kind of like a moral Tootsie Roll centers also.
I could see that having like a big kinship with this movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Kind of sounds like a bowling movie. Like a California Split is like a 1-7-10.
You know what the odds of that are? 1 in 453 billion. It would happen once every 421 years if you're bowling 7 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I just read that.
Is Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray there?
With his hair flopping up.
It is funny. Anthony Holden kind of Neil deGrasse Tyson to that movie, didn't he?
Yes, he did a little bit.
Fucker. It's not fun now. Anyway, no, this is, I mean, there's more going on here than poker. There's more going on here than gambling in general. Although you guys gambled during this game.
We did. We forgot
on the movie.
Yeah.
You gambled on the movie. You're throwing dollar bills on my table. I'm like, guys,
money fell out.
What's going to happen next? money did fall out of your pocket.
I got 4 on the Cincinnati Kid. Jeff's got
I'll take those odds.
Watching us play from behind us.
Yep.
Chuck just bet Jason $4.
Neither one of us hit on Steve McQueen smacking Anne Margaret's ass.
No.
though. We didn't.
No, that was good though.
Yeah.
The chances were actually kind of high on that.
It was quite a good
it was.
smack. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I kind of would have liked to have done that myself. Anyway,
she was not all that upset about it.
no, she feigned,
played like
she
was.
feigned a little bit,
Yeah.
but no. But you guys,
But my sensibilities.
Jason had a whole freaking workbook from like Excel up, like
I did.
trying to figure out his bets for the baseball
he was
games.
doing the odds on the last hand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was. That's how I calculated it.
It wasn't what's his face. It wasn't Dave Foley. Dave Foley, who are you? Who are you to tell us?
It definitely wasn't Dave Foley. I was reading the wrong part of this page.
Fair enough. So should we start bringing this in for
Listen to Film Seizure. Don't read Wikipedia.
Or maybe listen to Film Seizure to find out how badly Jason flunked reading comprehension. All right, so I think we can probably start bringing this in for a Landon.
Yep.
All right, so so next week. So every Wednesday, by the way, is Film Seizure, right? Do you guys agree? What are the odds on that? Probably pretty even.
92%.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. So next week we got a second suggestion from Dad, and it's Slapshot. And I really want to say something, but we're gonna wait. Wait.
Tune in next week to find out why Jeff's dad is sending him a message with Slapshot.
So that is next Wednesday. Slapshot, that is the Paul Newman movie that was kind of a cult classic for a little while and then became really popular again about 20 years after it came out in the 90s, because then they had 2 sequels, one of which had Stephen Baldwin in it.
Oh God, I remember that. Yeah.
I didn't watch the sequels. They look like shit.
I didn't
This is, incidentally, we were discussing doing this movie when we were talking about doing sports themed.
Yes, which is funny because Dad was like, have you guys talked about doing The Natural? I'm like, that's our leading baseball. That's leading off for baseball month if we ever do that.
Also, Slapshot is real easy to connect to David Lynch. Just saying.
Oh Jesus! What, the Hansons were in there?
No,
were in one of his movies.
Sheriff Harry Truman.
Harriman.
Sheriff Harry Truman is in Slapshot.
Oh, okay,
nice. I love him.
So then, so that's every Wednesday at the filmseizure.com address. You can also go to places like SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. Did I say Stitcher? I just did. And Audible. But then also on Mondays and all of those same places, you can come over to the Film Seizures presenting the Monster Mondays.
Ooh.
That's my show.
Oh, man.
I talk about monsters.
Oh my gosh.
I like monsters.
I would never know.
This upcoming week, I have Night of the Lepus.
Oh man, that's the rabbit one, right?
The rabbit, yeah. For those of you who are smart nerds, Lepus is Latin for rabbit.
Run away.
Right.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah. It's a bunch of cute bunnies rampaging in slow motion through small towns.
Oh, God.
It's adorable.
Because it's supposed to be giant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they slow it down to give them weight.
That's the MST3K, isn't it? Or did they do
Riff
that?
Tracks.
Riff Tracks, okay.
Yeah. So it's a fun one. It's a fun little goofy 70s giant monster movie that should have been made 20 years earlier. Mm-hmm. That takes itself a little too seriously, but it's fun.
And Jeff's going to keep it positive.
I'm going to keep it positive, as always. So yeah, do those things. This upcoming Friday at my website, bmovieanima.com, I am returning to the world of Too Sweet with Penitentiary 2. So a little bit of a Rocky knockoff, blaxploitation Rocky.
I still need to see those movies.
Penitentiary 2 has Mr. T in it.
Yeah.
and he murders Ernie Hudson. Wow. I think literally.
And Ernie Hudson was coming back in the sequel because he was in the first one too, wasn't he?
No,
he wasn't.
But he's playing a character who comes back.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
And he is a very scary guy in this movie. And Mr. T fucks him up. I have clips of that on my YouTube that will be there when that article comes out. It's actually really funny because Mr. T, like, literally, I think, becomes blood soaked at one point.
Did Ernie Hudson not eat his cereal or something?
Well, he's a fool for not.
I pity the fool.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't eat his Mr. T's, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Or he did. It was just the Mr. T's knuckle sandwich.
Drink your drugs.
Drink your drugs. So
I guess Ernie Hudson's on the B team.
He is.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
It actually took me a second.
I was right there with it. So it's good to be all in the same room again.
Yes, sure is. Feels good.
It feels good. But we're going to do it again for next week with Slapshot. We would like you guys to come back and hear that too. Dad, you have no choice. You recommended these movies. Although you kind of treat it as no choice because you listen to everything we do.
Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah. We appreciate it. It is appreciated. We have one really solid fan.
Yeah.
We've changed the life of one person on some days of the week.
Yeah.
Because now they have one more thing to do.
And we brought Mask of Zorro to their lives.
That's true. He did quite like that movie.
Sure did.
So anyway, until next week, I am Geoff Arbuckle.
I'm Strongth more.
Let's look on his.
I'm Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.